All right, we're back with another video. This one is from By the Book Ministries. I saw the title of this video, Richard Dawkins finally admits a strong case for God. And I immediately knew that it absolutely had to be dishonest in some way, shape, or form. And I watched the video, and yeah, it's 100% dishonest. Richard Dawkins does not finally admit a strong case for God, and he especially doesn't admit a strong case for the Christian God. Let's get into the video.
Richard Dawkins is a world famous atheist, or should I say infamous atheist, who has made a living mocking Christians. Over the years, Richard Dawkins has made it clear that he does not believe that God exists. But now it seems as if Richard Dawkins is kind of deviating, or at least acknowledging that there are some very strong arguments for the existence of God.
Absolutely not. Richard Dawkins did not say that there are some very strong arguments, plural, for the existence of God. In this video, he goes to the fine-tuning argument, and he says basically that the fine-tuning of the universe, that's a strange thing. But at no point does he allude to some type of creator or God in this video. And that's the only argument. Definitely not arguments, plural.
Now, this is news to me. I want you guys to check it out. I'll be right back.
Was going to convince me of the need for a God. It would be there. It would be not in my own field of biology. And I found, I mean, I've read The Language of God, and indeed I reread it today. I read it first when it came out. when you come on later to the origin of the physical constants, now that's getting warm. That getting close to a good argument. Unlike the morality one.
Well, is that mainly because it is essentially a scientific argument?
No.
That's
it's
obviously
much more
the area
difficult
you're
than that.
happiest with.
It's that the physical constants, things like the speed of light, gravitational constant, and strong and weak force and things. Most physicists agree, that if you change any of those constants by even a very, very small amount, then we don't come into existence. The universe doesn't come into existence. They have to be like that in order for galaxies to form, for stars to form, for chemistry to form, actually, and then for the prerequisite for life to evolve needs that as well. So that's the nearest approach to a good argument.
There you have it. Richard Dawkins is admitting that at least the fine-tuning argument of the universe is a very solid, grounded argument for the existence of God. So
there you have it. Richard Dawkins is admitting there's a very solid, well-grounded argument
for the existence of God. So
for the existence of God. What did he actually say?
That's the nearest approach to a good argument. That's the nearest approach to a good argument.
There you have it.
That's the nearest approach to a good argument.
There you have it. Richard Dawkins is admitting that at least the fine-tuning argument of the universe is a very solid.
The next words out of his mouth right here should be, there you have it. At least Richard Dawkins is admitting that that's the nearest case to a good argument that you could have for the existence of a creator of some sort, not the Christian God, which he will try to tie it into.
Solid, grounded argument for the existence of God. So if you're not familiar with the fine-tuning argument, allow me to read an excerpt from Lee Strobel's book, A Case.
He goes on. He just gives a bunch of assertions that the universe is fine-tuned. But I just wanted to play real quick, because I went and found the interview or the video that this is from, and it was a little suspicious that I don't know why he would. I mean, he counts this as a win that Dawkins said this.
That's the nearest approach to a good argument.
There you have.
and then he cuts it off. But what he doesn't want to include in is this little piece of the video from just a little bit later on, where he's
actually, I've heard many
Dawkins
other atheists
says,
say that. Peter Millikan, I think Hitchens, all said, okay, that might be the one if you were going to crack the door open a little bit. But I think what you were coming to, Richard, is why you still think this is, you're still essentially pointing to a gap and filling it with God. Is that your problem
because
with
it seems to me
this?
all you're doing is pushing it back a stage, and you've still got to explain God.
Right.
You're saying we need an explanation for the fine-tuning, and so we postulate a fine-tuner, but you haven't explained anything. I mean, you've simply invented.
Okay.
You've magicked away the problem.
And
so it's a little bit suspicious that he left that part out, but hey, dishonesty. So Richard Dawkins says that's the closest thing that I've ever heard to any type of thing that's approaching a good argument. Still not a good argument, but approaching a good argument. And definitely in no way, shape, or form is Dawkins arguing for some type of personal Jesus, God, creator, which he does go on to say. He says, even if you got past the fine tuning and got to a fine tuner and were to show that a fine tuner exists, you're still miles and miles away from any type of Jesus and cross and resurrection and sin and all this other stuff. The video is just presented extremely dishonestly. Richard Dawkins did not finally admit a strong case for God. He just didn't do this. This did not happen. He knows it didn't happen, but I don't know. Dishonesty. That's the name of the game.
Tuning argument. Allow me to read an excerpt from Lee Strobel's book, A Case for Christianity. He has a section talking about the fine-tuning argument. Let me just kind of highlight some bullet points here. Lee Strobel states in his book, one of the most striking discoveries of modern science has been that the laws of constants of physics unexpectedly conspire in extraordinary ways to make the universe suitable for life. Put another way, about 50 different factors had to be dialed in with incredible...
There's an assertion, 50 different factors had to be dialed in. You can't just assert that these factors were dialed in. You have to show that they were dialed in.
Precision in order for life of...
also with incredible precision. Precision in comparison to what? If all these 50 different factors were different, they would also be precise to whatever factors they were, or whatever precision that they were currently set at. So you can't just say that 2 is incredibly precise. Well, what if it was 3? Well, 3 would also be incredibly precise. It would just be 3, not 2, if that makes any sense. You can't just say that it's precise and that it was dialed in. You have to show that it was precise and dialed in.
Any kind to survive. If even one of these areas had been off to even the slightest degree, well, we wouldn't be around to know about it. You see, it's these factors that are dialed in to such incredible precision that allow...
Okay, the factors that are... I just went over that. The factors that were dialed in to such incredible precision
allows life to exist and function on the earth.
So you have to show that they were dialed in, and you have to show that they were precise to allow life to flourish. Maybe life just happened to flourish because of how these factors were ended up being. It's like the puddle analogy, where you say, there's a hole in the ground and it fills up with water, and the water says, wow, look at this hole was created just for me. But the water filled, the hole was there first. The water just happened to fill it, and then assume that the hole was made for the water. That's a poor explanation of that analogy, but look up the puddle analogy. Somebody could do it way better than I just did.
Like gravity. If gravity is so well adjusted that if it was moved off just a little bit, stars wouldn't form, planets wouldn't form, we wouldn't form. We wouldn't be here without gravity. These are some of the cosmological constants that are just so finely tuned. Lee Strobel continues. He says,
you can't just assert they're finely tuned. You have to show that they're finely tuned. I mean, obviously they are the way that they are, but that doesn't mean that they were tuned or tweaked to be that way. Maybe that's just the way it was.
But how did these factors get so down in? By chance? The
maybe by chance, sure.
odds against that are absolutely astronomical.
It doesn't matter what the odds are. It just has to happen once. You know what I mean?
In an interview for The Case for a Creator, physicist Robin Collins gave an example of just one of these areas, the cosmological constant, which represents the energy density of empty space. He says, quote, "There's no way we can really comprehend it."
There's no way we can really comprehend it, he explained. He explained the thing that there's no way that they can really comprehend.
He explained, the fine-tuning has conservatively been estimated to be at least 1 part in 100 million billion. That will be a 10 followed by 53 zeros. That's inconceivably precise.
Precise in contrast to what? No matter what that number would have been, it would have been a precise number. I mean, I get what they're trying to say. It's just not a good argument.
I couldn't imagine a figure like that. Can you give me an illustration, Lee Strobel says. He says, let's say you were out in space and were throwing a dart at random toward the Earth. It would be like successfully hitting a bullseye that's 1/1,000,000th of a trillionth in an inch in diameter. That's less than the size of a solitary atom. This is a strong case for a creator. Even
it's not a strong case for a creator, because in order to show a case for a creator, you have to show that something was created. But even if, just like I said earlier in the video, even if you did just somehow get to this point, you're still looking at a creator, not a god or a Christian god or any other specific god, just something that can create things. You're nowhere near getting to a Christian god, but you can't even show that it was created in the first place.
Richard Dawkins has to admit that. The fine-tuning of the universe is a powerful proof for the existence of a creator, the existence for God. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, per Frank Turek, right? It's
Frank
astronomically impossible.
Frank Turek just did another tour, or whatever you want to call it, on his I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist tour. It's like 2 or 3 hours long, man. I was thinking about covering it, just start to finish, maybe breaking it up into smaller segments, but I don't think I can sit through 2 to 3 hours of listen to Frank Turek. It's hard enough to just do these like 5-minute little clips that he does, but maybe I'll get into it.
For the universe to be fine-tuned by chance, it's scientifically impossible for something to come from nothing.
Scientifically impossible for something to come from nothing. Who says something comes from nothing? Nothing in
without the aid of a supernatural, powerful time.
What?
The spaceless, personal God.
Whoa!
Powerful, timeless space.
Brother, how did we get there?
Spaceless, personal God.
Do you believe
aid of a thing to come from nothing, without the aid of a supernatural, powerful, timeless, spaceless, personal God?
Without the where do you get the supernatural, the spaceless, the timeless, and where do you get the personal from? You're just saying words at this point. That was utter nonsense.
Do you believe that nothing created everything?
No, because nothing can perform actions. That makes no sense.
It's a default position. If you're saying nothing created everything, then you're agreeing with Richard Dawkins.
Characterizing Richard Dawkins, because Richard Dawkins, I'm sure he didn't say that.
He didn't say. Nobody is saying that nothing created something. If you could show me where nothing in its most proper usage, meaning the complete absence of anything that somehow created nothing. I mean, just show me it. Show me who says it and where.
Seems ridiculous.
Professor Richard Dawkins, arguably the world's most high-profile atheist, believes that in the beginning there was nothing, and that nothing created everything.
No, he does not.
As he attempts to justify this belief, admitting that it defies common sense, the learned professor calls nothing something.
Who's this talk? Is that... What's that guy? Is that... Not Ken Ham. I know that accent. I can't think of the guy's name right now.
Watch the reaction of his audience.
Of course it's counterintuitive that you can get something from nothing. Of course common sense doesn't allow you to get something from nothing. That's why it's interesting. It's got to be interesting in order to give rise to the universe at all. Something pretty mysterious had to give rise to the origin of the universe. But exactly what's meant by nothing, but whatever it is, it's very, very simple. And
so I remember actually watching this Q&A years ago, and the audience laughs because Richard Dawkins has a much broader understanding of what's meant by nothing. Because when people hear the word nothing, they think it just kind of, in this context, of course, you're dealing with the creation of the universe. They think nothing literally means that there was just nothing there, but that's not the case. It's just like what Dawkins just said. What is meant by
very,
nothing?
very simple.
And the audience
exactly
laughs.
What's meant by.
But exactly what's meant by nothing? He's not saying that nothing created everything. He's saying that there. Go watch this interview. Look it up. He explains it much better than I'm ever going to be able to say it. But there's no physicist that's proposing that just absolute nothing created absolute everything. That's not what they're saying. But the audience laughs because they don't understand that concept. That nothing doesn't necessarily mean nothing. But Dawkins doesn't understand that. He's speaking to an audience who doesn't understand that. So he gets a little bit of a laugh of a reaction. And he got a little bit upset by it because he's speaking on a different level. He doesn't understand why it's funny.
By nothing, but whatever it is, it's very, very simple. And why is that funny?
Well, I think it's a bit funny to be trying to define nothing.
These things.
And of course, the interview cuts off right there. I'm not going to look up the interview. Look up the interview. Obviously, it's not like Dawkins was just defeated and he walked out of the room. You know what I mean? Just watch it and you can see the dishonesty there.
Things can't happen by chance. It's just not possible. Atheism.
You have to demonstrate that something is not possible, that it is possible. You can't just say that it's not possible.
Those who call themselves atheists just need to be honest and say, I'm agnostic because I don't know. Just be honest, say, we don't know if there's a God or not, because you cannot.
So if you're an agnostic, I mean, you're an atheist. Because if you're an agnostic, you're saying that you don't know if a God exists, which means you don't believe that a God exists. And that's all an atheist is. Someone who doesn't believe that a God exists. Someone who is unconvinced that a God exists. I mean, I think I said it before, agnostic or atheist is just agnosticism with a little bit of chest hair behind it. That's all it is. There's really no difference. Most atheists wouldn't say that no God exists. They would just say that they're unconvinced that a God exists. That's not to say that an atheist like myself wouldn't say that the Christian God doesn't exist. That's an assertion that I make. The God of the Christian religion doesn't exist. But to say that no God exists, now that's a statement that I can't make, because what if there is a God and he's hiding under a rock somewhere on some faraway planet? Well, I haven't looked at all the rocks on some faraway planet, so I wouldn't say that, but just, all right, let's keep going.
I say objectively that there is no God. It's just a failed.
Most atheists would not say that. If I would hold an atheist who said objectively there is no God, I would hold them to just as much of a standard as the Christian who's saying that there is a God. It's a nonsensical statement to assert that there just is no God.
Ideology is a failed thought process. Let me know your thoughts on the fine-tuning argument, and also what is
the fine-tuning argument. Here's my thoughts on it. Demonstrate that it was fine-tuned and not just the way it was, not just the way it had to be. Maybe there is no other possible way it could have been. You have to demonstrate that it was tuned.
Favorite proof for the existence of God. If you enjoyed this video and you want more content like this, do me a huge favor and subscribe to this channel. Like this video.
All right. I went on a bunch of tangents there, and I think I said that you have to prove that something is not possible. If I said that early in the video, scratch that. I didn't mean that. But you do have to demonstrate possibility of a claim. I really just wanted to. I didn't watch the whole video. I just wanted to see the dishonesty part about Richard Dawkins, because I know Dawkins finally did not admit a strong case for God, which of course he didn't. This guy's just being dishonest. I don't know if it's for clicks. I don't know how many people care about what Richard Dawkins' views are, but I wanted to point out the dishonesty. The rest of the video is just a bonus. All right, thanks for watching, man. Till the next one.